Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call this meeting of the Saddlebrook One Board of Directors to order. And the first thing I want to say to everyone here is welcome home. Saddlebrook is the place that we all call home, and it's a wonderful home, isn't it? Yes. Thank you. Okay, I would like to introduce our board. My name is Joanne Ellison, and I have the privilege and the honor of being the president of this truly wonderful organization. And starting on my left, I'd like the board members here at this table to introduce themselves, and including our one emeritus across the table as well. Why don't you go first?
I'm Mike Odell, and I'm with the ALC.
Marty O'Shea, ex officio.
Steve Belacqua, treasurer of the board. I'm sorry, secretary of the board. Maybe next year.
That comes later in the meeting.
I'm Joe O'Connor, and I'm sitting next to Steve Belacqua, the secretary.
I'm Tom Swikowski, vice president.
Len Alcantara, director.
Don Taylor, treasurer.
Kathleen Sartoris, director.
And then across from the board at the management table, we have Leslie Vanoff, our executive assistant, Vivian Timian, our general manager, Mike Treiber, our director, controller. Why did I put director? Mike Roddy, director of golf, John Reed, director of operations, and Bree Dieter, fitness coordinator. And also, we have Jason Rasmussen, our webmaster. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you go to our website, I noticed that we now have a Meet the Staff section, and it highlights our staff and gives a little bio. I found it very fun to look through, and I highly recommend it to you. Our strength lies in our talented team of professionals. They are our rock stars. Now, tomorrow, just a little heads up notice, we have a special work session of the board, and our board will continue its work on preparing a 5-year plan. This will be at 1 o'clock. And Joe O'Connor will lead us in a discussion, and at the session, we are continuing to review comments from the residents, the work we did in the previous work session, and we will move this process forward. Okay, this afternoon we have lots of interesting and important reports, and we are all looking forward to hearing from our presenters. The agenda and reports have been posted on the website, and hard copies are available upon request. And we also posted the agenda of tomorrow's work session. A little bit of housekeeping on any item today requiring a board vote. Right before we vote, homeowners of our association will have an opportunity to come to the microphone for questions and comments. We ask that at that point you keep your questions and comments addressed to the specific issue that we are voting for. And please keep your remarks to no more than 2 minutes. Yes. At the end of our meeting, residents will have, and before we adjourn, homeowners will have the opportunity for further comments and questions of a general nature pertaining to our HOA. Okay, let's move forward. Next slide. Approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? There being none, the minutes are approved as written. Now I will turn it over to Vivian Timian.
Thank you, Joanne. This is Vivian Timian. I'm just going to talk about a few things this morning, or this afternoon. Golf continues to do very well financially. Their annual members have not shifted a lot. They have been well above budget for the year. We did experience a slight increase in preferred memberships due to the Mountain View closure in May, so we did see a few more HOA2 people over in May. Okay. And it says upcoming event, but obviously it's already been done. Red Friday was last Friday. They had 128 players. It was very successful. Golf as well as food and beverage event went very well. In F&B, they are offering pizza to go on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There's no service charge. That's been picking up gradually as we get our consistency down with the pizza to go. And we reopen the Vistas on Saturday evenings with entertainment. And we are down one busser at this point in time in F&B, so everything going very, very well in F&B as well. And operations, we did see home sales are up in April. And what Mike reports is he's going to report that we sold 13. It was actually 15, though, because if you flip a home or if you buy a home while you're selling a home, you waive the home resale fee. So in our world of finance, it doesn't count unless you actually get the money. There you go. So actually, we did sell 15 homes in the month of April. Home sales in May so far is 12, but we are expecting another one because we know a closure occurred, but the check still has not come in, so we're hoping that we get that today or tomorrow. Year to date, home sales are 48, and the budget for each month is 10.5, so we're looking for 125 annually. So that's what's going on, and I am going to turn it over so that Mike can give you a lot more information. Mike Triber can give you a lot more information about our finances here at HOA1. Thank you.
Vivian,
Yeah.
should we all throw in there also on the pizza to go that it's wings and pizza to go?
Yeah, we just we added wings as well, so you can order wings and pizza to go.
Thank you, Vivian. So looking at operating results for April, as Vivian mentioned, we had 13 home resales. That's that we collected cash on. And that was versus the budget of 10.5. So for the month, we're up just over $7,000. Year to date, we're still behind. We're at 37 home resales year to date versus 42 budgeted. In other general income, we're about $38,000 better. The components of that are Comcast, for which we have $19,000 of revenue. We're receiving royalties there, which we had not budgeted, and interest income of $11,000. Looking at the expenses, in the services, you can see we're $41,000 worse than budget of the month. That's a timing issue. Basically, there's spending happening mostly in common area in the month of April. That was budgeted in prior months. So year to date, we're still $82,000 better than budget. However, that $82,000 also is mostly timing. Those projects will occur as the year goes on, and that money will be spent. And looking at the amenities, $37,000 worse than budget year to date. Most of that is in the clubhouse, and that's natural gas as well as property insurance. And at the pool, it's natural gas and then supplies and chemicals. Questions on HOA? Looking at golf, as Vivian mentioned, they had a really excellent month in April. We're better on annuals, as Vivian went into detail on. Dailies were up significantly, though, in the month of April. Both in daily and privilege rounds, we were better than budget. And looking at golf shop net sales, we also had a very successful month in the golf shop. Events were successful, so we're $30,000 better than budget in the month, and then $42,000 better year to date on golf shop net sales. Looking at the expenses, in golf course maintenance, we're $72,000 better than budget year to date. A significant portion of that is labor, followed by golf course water, followed by supplies and chemicals, and then the equipment lease. And golf operations were worse than budget by $13,690. Most of that is labor. Golf shop cost of sales, a lot of this variance to budget where we're worse by 25 and then 29 year to date. A lot of that is sales volume driven. However, in the month of April, we were at 70% versus 63 budgeted on cost of sales. And year to date, we're at 66 versus 65. Bottom line, golf net income looks really good at 54,875 positive in the month and 137,147 positive year to date. Questions on golf? Looking at food and beverage, they missed their sales on the top line. Gross sales were worse than budget by $20,000. Year to date, they're at 67 worse. Other income year to date, $12,665. That's really driven by the service charge that hits there. Cost of sales, a year to date, they're at 34% versus 34% budgeted, so right on budget and better than budget on an absolute basis. Looking at labor cost for the month, it was at 58% of gross sales versus 64% budgeted. And year to date, they're at 60% versus 66 budgeted. So doing a really good job on controlling labor cost. Other expenses, $25,000 worse than budget year to date. Most of that is in variable expenses, followed by computer software licenses. Bottom line, just positive in the month at $127, but $36,605 positive on F&B net year to date. Questions? Bottom line, $24,534 better than budget on total net income in the month and $277,742 year to date. Looking at our cash balances, we're just under $10 million for all funds at the end of April. An update on replacement reserve funding. In January, we had funded $750,000 to the replacement reserve. In May, we put in $327,500. So we have $1 million to go to fully fund the replacement reserve for our commitment for 2024. And just to point out, we also have $350,000 budgeted for home resale fees to be funded into the capital improvement fund. Questions on cash? Looking at the cash outflows from the replacement reserve, the drainage project at Catalina View Drive, Unit 6, the channel basin at the end of Greenbelts, that was final in April. It was budgeted at $32,187. This is a piece of an overall project, and it came in at $32,187. In the fitness center, the window coverings were finalized. The auto shades were finalized in April. It was budgeted at $17,000, and it came in at $13,824. Also in the fitness center, the AC unit in the men's locker room and the women's locker room, each of those were replaced. Total cost was $10,200 each, and they were budgeted $8,500 apiece. The hamstring curl machine was purchased. That came in at $5,775 versus a budget of $5,500. And the leg extension machine was also budgeted at $5,500 and came in at $7,024. Questions? In food and beverage, the Globe mixture was purchased. It was approved by the board at $18,311. It came in at a final actual of $17,024. The remaining items, actually I'm just going to talk about these all together. There was a bread warmer and then various configurations of refrigeration units that were purchased. The total budget for those was $29,900 and the final cost was $34,540. Questions? Pools and spas, a pool dolphin was purchased. That's a vacuum cleaner for the pool, by the way. Was budgeted at $5,760, came in at $4,043. On the golf course, all three courses had irrigation heads replacements purchased. Total budget for that was $15,000, and it came in at $14,967. Bottom line, we had budgeted $2,184,000 in spending from the replacement reserve. We've spent about $434,000 year to date as at the end of April, and we're looking at a forecast of $2.2 million or $2,248,000 by the end of the year. Questions on the RRF? And there were no final projects in the capital improvement fund at the end of April.
I had a question.
Yes?
With regard to the resales and the resale fee, and all of those are dedicated to go into the CIF, correct? Are we, with a new building on the horizon potentially, are we putting some protected money, because that is a big capital improvement, into that fund?
Well, when we get into the budgeting process, you'll see that we'll start allocating funds into the replacement reserve and/or the capital improvement fund, depending on where it's going to be spent. And part of that is going to be planning for those building projects.
Okay.
So you'll see that funding reflected there.
Yeah, and I know that we go back and forth, and money is money, but it's nice to look at some that is actually protected or slated for a project.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So also I have on the agenda the budget and business plan schedule for the 2025 budget. Here we are in May. We're reviewing the schedule. We reviewed it on Tuesday with the Finance Committee. There were no changes requested. In the month of July, I will issue the forecast as well as the draft of the 10-year financial plan to the Finance Committee and the Board. We'll be looking for an approval of the 10-year by the Finance Committee on the July 23rd, and on the 25th, we'll be looking for approval by the Board. In August, we'll begin updating the business plans for 2025, involving committees as appropriate. I will be sending out budget templates to the managers by August 19th. Again, they'll involve committees as appropriate for that budget input. Again, in August, we'll be looking for the board to issue board guidance at the August 29th board meeting. Also, golf fees will be presented there for the 24-25 golf year, and we'll be looking for approval from the board. If not approved there, we'll be seeking approval in the September meeting. In September, on the 2nd, the business plans are due back to myself. Vivian and I will review them with the managers. And by September 12th, the draft of those plans will be distributed to the board and the Finance Committee and other committees as appropriate. For September 13th, I'll be looking for the initial budgets and the 2024-25 replacement reserve and capital requests to come back to myself. September 20th is the final date for us to review the draft operating budgets and reserve and capital requests. And at September 26th, we'll be looking for approval from the board if not approved on golf fees, if not approved in August. September 26th, the first draft budget will be distributed. That will go out to the Finance Committee and the board. And then on October 4th, it's a Friday, we will have the open hearings for the draft budget with management and committees. And that's an open meeting. So the residents are invited. On October 31st, the first draft budget and revised business plans approved by the board will be looking for approval at the October board meeting. If not approved there, we'll be presenting again in November. And the November schedule is just, if anything's not approved through October, then we'll be seeking that approval in November. Questions?
For Mike and Vivian, could you review the timing on the input from the architect that we've hired in terms of cost estimates for the Creative Wellness Center?
Yeah, we should have an estimate on the cost at the end of June. So definitely we'll have that estimate so that we can work it with our budget at that point.
Okay, now the second one, Mike, on the 10-year projection. I think by your schedule there, there's 2 days between the time that the Finance Committee reviews that and the board reviews it for approval?
Well, the board will have the opportunity to review it in advance of that. We will issue the, let's see. I'll be issuing the draft budget on September 26th. That will go to the Finance Committee as well as the board.
I'm talking about the 10-year plan, 10-year projection.
I'm sorry, the 10-year plan. Okay, what was your question again?
You were talking about that will be reviewed and approved in July, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
And I'm just looking, we've got 2 days between the Finance Committee and the board meeting. I would assume those documents be available in advance of the Finance
I'll be
Committee.
issuing the 10-year projection on July 16th. So and that will go to the Finance Committee as well as the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And
thank you.
of course, the board always has the opportunity any board member who wants to attend the Finance Committee can ask questions there and raise concerns and so forth. So those opportunities will be there in advance of the board meeting. Other questions? Land feasibility.
All right, that would be John.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is John Reed here. We're going to talk about the land feasibility study that we started off on in last January, I believe it was, the year before, on 2023. Originally, we worked parallel with the senior village to determine if an adjacent property that they were going to use that belongs to the HOA that was feasible for our development for some type of amenities. And the goal there was to gain estimated costs on the grading, draining, landscaping, and any utility needs to understand the full potential of that property. This property right here that is 2.1 acres is just outside the Acacia Hills gate there as you exit HOA 1. And this here works here. Does this work? I can't point on this, can I? That doesn't work. No, it doesn't. The property on the bottom left-hand corner, that's the property that the senior village, I believe, has. And then ours is a larger 2.1 acres there. Obviously, the feasibility process would obtain a civil engineering firm to assist, which was WLB, perform topographical land survey was the first step, get a hydrologist involved to determine potential drainage of any infrastructure needed to obtain that drainage. And results will present potential excavation requirements to optimize the use of the land. We would determine without considerable excavation costs, it would only be feasible to use a small portion of this land for non-structural amenities. You can see that down the center there where the drainage is currently, and the left side there, that shows a kind of topographical view there. The blue square there is the usable land. It still has a slight bit of contour to it, but it could be used as non-structural use. But the rest of it there has a lot of contour to it, and we have to use most of that to maintain the drainage across that area. This was just the kind of the cost we established for the water lines and the sewer lines that would be required if we put a structure there. $45,000 for the water line, and estimated at $60,000 for the sewer and utilities out to the area. Back when we originally presented this here, we requested the left column there, the $13,500, which was our portion, and of course the senior village has their cost, their portion of it. Right now, we've only billed out $9,700, and we've closed this project out as of right now because we don't see there's no point in going further with this feasible study to determine what this land is used for. So we're closing this project out with your approval. Questions?
Shut it off.
Okay, I had a couple questions. So is more detailed, I'm just curious, it says substantial cost to try to do something with that land. Did we come up with a number of what that would be? Or it sounds like it's prohibitive, but I don't have that.
Well, to do once you did the actual excavation, what land would be left over to actually build something on? Would that land left over be enough to build a building or such on it? And it would not be. So it really wouldn't be a sense to do the estimates on the cost of the drainage, to improve the drainage, if there wasn't going to be enough land
Okay.
left over to build on.
Okay, so I know that it's been, Vivian and coffees and things like that, we've talked about taking fill for that, and, you know, is that no longer, nothing is viable?
You've got to maintain the drainage, though, that's the problem. And I think that we could put fill material in there, but the problem's going to be that you have
Still
to
the
maintain it.
drainage,
Yeah, you still
okay.
gotta have the drainage maintained.
Okay, so since we haven't been acquisitioning other land recently, so the .49 acres, okay, I hear you, you're saying it's useless, and that's kind of what it sounds like, but I just thought, from a little imagination, is there anything else that you gleaned from looking at the land more closely and doing this project just for the feasibility? What, is there anything in a half an acre, especially if Senior Village is going ahead?
Again, Senior Village is not done with their process as far as what they're going to do with their piece of land. As far as our piece of land, I mean, non-structural, maybe a garden area or something like that there, because it is a smaller piece, maybe non-structural, but you still have to bring the utilities there for that. Now, if Senior Village puts something there, then then it's so different
Yeah.
scenario, I guess.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I have a question. If you put the drainage, would the whole 2.1 acres be usable, or would it never be usable? I know you're saying it's a considerable cost and it's not practical. I'm just curious. We don't know how much it would be, but it doesn't sound like it would accomplish much anyway.
Yeah, the half acre there is small enough to where it's not at a shape to where you could actually, put a structure on it to be able to maintain any kind of parking spaces and things like that there by itself. Yeah. After you got the drainage built, there's not enough land there to do that on.
That's our property, Senior Village is in a different.
No, I know, but are they aware of us? Because if we were going to partner on something else,
Oh,
they'd
sure,
want to
yeah.
know. Okay,
Collaborated with Dave, I believe his name was, on with the same, because they're using the same civil engineer to do their piece of it as well.
okay, great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, we'll move to the next topic, which is, I think the next is the consent agenda, which has been posted. Any objections? Then the consent agenda is adopted. Next item.
Yeah, I'll talk about the road work projects right now. The seal coat work will begin the week of, the second week in June, actually, around the 6th of June it starts. And we're going to be finished with that in probably about a week. And then the other one, the road resurface project around Ridgeview, both areas down south and as well as from Saddlebrook Boulevard over to Via Del Oro. Those projects will begin in August. So that's where we're at with the road projects. And then I guess I'll turn it over to John. Why don't you start talking?
Again, this is John Reed again. As far as the Agave and the golf shop interior designer, we have a meeting scheduled with the interior designer on the 12th to review their plans they've sent us. They look pretty good. We got to make some minor adjustments to them. but we're going to have to bring them in here, and they're going to present their drawings to us, and we can discuss some of the changes we'd like to make with them on the 12th. With land feasibility project, we just talked about that. Let's see, Agave South entrance door, that is on order. I don't expect that to be ready to be put in until late July, early August. In reality, until he tells me it's manufactured and ready for install, it is only going to be a day and a half install. 1 day to take the old one out, put the new one in, and then probably half a day to do the trim work around the doors. This is a sound system upgrade. Our electrical wiring that we need to put in from our end has all been installed. The contractor we're using to order all the components for that have ordered it. Once they all arrive, then we can schedule with them. They're telling me right around the middle to the end of June, we'll be ready to install that system. Air handler 13 and 14 above the library, those are scheduled to be installed during the shutdown in October. Admin carpet, area carpet, we have a pre-planning meeting on the 10th to discuss with the administration team how we're going to move things around to keep everybody still in operation. The project isn't going to be executed until the 14th through the 19th of June is when we're actually going to execute that project. The chiller condenser water pumps will be replaced during shutdown as well. The Creative Arts and Wellness Workshop going really well. We just received a drawing today that the subcommittee needs a review of a layout of the building. The architect has committed to provide me with the drainage plan, site plan, and the parking analysis on the 5th of June, which is next week. And then they've also, from that point, if we like what we see and what we have there on the, I got these dates written down here, I can't remember them all. The 19th, they've committed to providing us 100% schematic design drawings, which includes the 3D renderings for potential presentation to the community. Hopefully that's, if we approve what they have. And then from there, once we approve that, they estimate a week to get an estimated cost of the construction from that point, from the schematic design, based on a layout we have schematic design, for a week to get an estimated cost from an external consultant to provide that cost. But everything's looking pretty good. We are scheduling meetings consistently with the different groups. We have one scheduled for the 3rd with the technical arts group on the 3rd in the Arts and Crafts building to discuss their needs and what they want to put in their building, again, just to kind of keep them informed, keep them involved, and keep their input coming our way with them. We've already met with the pottery group, the fiber arts people, and we still need to meet again with the dance group as well. Let's see where I'm at here. Vista Carpet is on order. When the same contractor is doing the admin area is coming out for a pre-construction walk with me on the 10th as well, before our pre-planning meeting with the team, internal team, and we're also going to walk that project as well to try to get a preliminary understanding what it's going to take for him, what he needs from us to execute that carpet install. It is ordered. He doesn't anticipate it being too much longer before it gets here, but once it arrives, he'll let me know. We can schedule logistics of getting that replaced as well. But we can't really do any scheduling until we actually get confirmation that it's in Tucson, that carpet.
All right, go to the green ones. Golf course maintenance lease package. You're laughing. We have heard that we should get 3 new greens mowers in the month of June, so that's a positive thing. The rest of it, we don't have any updates on. Sprayers, we got a new sprayer this week, so that is exciting for the maintenance staff. We're expecting the other one very shortly. The two of them are a little different in what we asked for, so that's the little delay on the second one. I think it's up in Phoenix. We're just waiting for those additional parts to be installed. Lift, we're also waiting for the final pieces of that to come in so we can schedule installation of the lift. Community storm drainage, that project started at the beginning of the month, progressing really well. I'm extremely happy with the work the contractor's doing. They are performing their second concrete install today and tomorrow, and we're still on track to have that wrapped up by the middle of June before the monsoon. So everything's going well there. Then we'll have a little bit of cleanup and stuff like that to do once they're done with their work, but very happy with how that project is progressing. Mike's been doing a good job of kind of keeping everybody informed on what's happening up there. Bunker sand replacement and the fairway top dressing will be ongoing throughout the summer and fall. Golf course improvements to the Tucson course specifically will kind of get underway the first 2 weeks of July when Tucson's closed. We'll probably get some pre-work done to prepare to make sure we're ready to go when Mike Gogol's here to help us with that work in the first 2 weeks of July. And the cart path replacement will happen, most of it during the 2-week closures, which will happen the second half of June through the month of July on each course.
Thank you.
These are all the projects that we talked about earlier that have been completed. Fitness center window coverings, we're looking at 10-year useful life. The sprinkler drive's about 7 years. The globe mixture should last us about 10 years. The AC units, we're looking at 15 years. The machines in the fitness center, at least a 10-year, if not longer. Lap pool dolphin usually lasts about 5 years. And then all the equipment in the food and beverage area, we're looking at 7-year useful lives, but we've already seen these numbers once, so that's where we're at. Now let's go on to the really important project which everybody came here to listen to today, which is the bocce ball court renovation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bree Dieter, fitness coordinator. So we're going to be talking about the potential renovation to our 4 bocce ball courts that we have. So I'm going to start off with just showing a couple pictures. I wasn't able to put all of the photographs that I took on here, just because of space, time, all of that. So starting off, just the condition of the turf on the outside of the bumpers. We're starting to see some fray, some wear and tear. The bumpers themselves have been faded due to being out in the sun. And then also the wood that's in the back portion of the courts is starting to show a little bit of wear and tear, a little bit of warpage. One of the main concerns, however, is the rubber bumpers that are on the sides, the long sides of the courts. So when these courts were built, and unfortunately I can't attest to any details, and we don't have Manny here to talk about it, but our in-house team built these courts, and all things considered, they did a pretty good job. However, they had never built bocce ball courts before. Unsure as to what kind of material this is, but when they laid it all out, as you can see on the far left photo, there's a big gap there. Those exist in a lot of different spots, bless you. The middle photo shows where they tried to put a piece in. Still doesn't seem to be very effective. And then on court 4, that's this last photo here to the right, they actually ran out of the material to lay one long cohesive piece on the court. So they had to cut it and then glue it down separately. So that's why there's this line that runs from one side all the way to the other on that specific court. Some of the other photos that I weren't able to add were when we do get some rain here, what happens is the water will come underneath of that turf, and we get these really big bubbles in all 4 of the courts, all along the courts. And I know that's been one really big complaint from a lot of residents that have approached me and a few other people about the courts. So I was able to get 3 quotes from 3 different companies. We're looking at Tucson Commercial Carpet, General Acrylics, and Elite Sport Builders. Now, I added this slide for a very specific reason, and that is simply the General Acrylics Company and Elite Sports Builders, this is what they do. They deal with the construction and renovation of tennis courts, bocce ball courts, etc. Tucson Commercial Carpet did come out, take a look, give a quote. But ultimately, it comes down to General Acrylics and Elite Sports, because this is their profession, they're going to be able to remove, they're going to do a really good scrape. They're also going to come back in, do a really good diamond grind, try to work out any divots that might possibly be existing, and then pressure wash it all before they relay that new adhesive and lay down the new turf. So real quick, I want to come bring you guys, I have samples of all of these. So first I'm going to give you Tucson Commercial Carpet, and then I'm going to give you General Acrylics, and then the Elite Sport Builders. So this is the first one from Tucson Commercial Carpet. This one here, this is from General Acrylics. So no, some similarities, but it's got the most notable part is that 5 millimeter pad that's going to be underneath of it. And then this is the sample that Elite Sports brought. So again, it's got that padding underneath of it. Now, the issue with that one though is the materials raised up wise, doesn't have a lot of sponginess that we're looking for. Okay. So coming to the warranties, so Tucson Commercial Carpet, they offered an 8-year warranty, General Acrylics, 5 years, Elite Sports, just 2 years. All companies, the warranty is actually provided by the manufacturer. So, and I did some digging, General Acrylics actually manufactures everything in-house. It all comes from one roof from Dalton, Georgia. So they are in charge of making their master batches, spinning the yarn, everything like that. So essentially, they are the person that's giving us the warranty as well. And I have more information on that if you'd like to dig into that. So for the price, Tucson Commercial Carpet came in at $43,019.84. General Acrylics, $63,958. Elite Sports, $64,665. Again, keeping in mind with General Acrylics, Elite Sport Builders, we are getting a little bit more of that upgraded process to the removal and reapplication. So for the bumpers, what we decided to do, John and myself, after talking about it, was we're going to have our in-house team. They are going to remove the bumpers. They're going to sand them down, take off that current material that we have on there, repaint them, reapply a new rubber material, and then reinstall the bumpers. So that's all going to be done in-house. So to do that, we looked at what we could possibly use for the railing material. And John had the idea of using the same E-Core material that we have in the fitness center flooring. So we were able to get a quote from Advanced Exercise for an 85-foot by 4-foot long roll of that material at 8 millimeters. So that cost is going to be $1,267.58. I did look at some other options. The problem with Thunder Technologies was they were only able to supply me with 25 by 4 foot. So that means we'd have to get 3. That means we wouldn't be able to have one consistent piece, and we don't want that. And then Flooring Inc., a little bit higher of a price, but just not as good of quality. It doesn't have that reputation, if you will. Whereas we know that the Advanced Exercise E-Core material it's worth it. So I move to approve the renovation of all 4. What was that? Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Bree. Very good presentation. Yeah. And that would even be okay. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the renovation of all 4 bocce ball courts at a total cost of $67,182.35, which includes a 3% contingency, funds to come from the Replacement Reserve Fund in accordance with a Saddlebrook 1 procurement policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any board questions or discussion?
I had a quick question, probably for John. Are we going to use a different, it sounded like you're going to sand down some of the wood that's already there. Is that correct, or are we going to have a different border?
Those side rails are not wood, they're actually metal. And we're going to sand them
Okay.
down, yes, and have them painted.
Oh, you're sanding down the metal and have them like
Yes.
electroplated or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then one side of it where we're left bare is where we adhere the new bumper rail continuously down the whole side rail. Right now, we got it in sections.
Yes.
We want one continuous bumper down the whole lane, if you will,
Okay.
of the bocce ball court.
Okay, so there's not, I see pieces of wood when I'm out there, like just, they look a little random. I'm sure they have a purpose, but it looks terrible.
There is a piece of wood on the backboard, and that was requested by the bocce ball players to put a piece of wood there,
okay.
to my understanding. Now, if they want something else there, then they need to let me know that. But I think that's more for the ball to get caught there, so it wouldn't hit a piece of metal when it did come back. If someone
Okay.
rolled the ball too hard, the ball wouldn't hit a piece of metal, it would hit a piece of wood instead.
Okay, all right. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just 1 second, the board has a discussion and then they'll open it up to everybody else, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I have for 2025, a replacement reserve schedule, $15,000 for flooring carpet replacement. I agree we need to do this. My question is, do you have any idea why it's 67,000 versus the estimate of 15 in the replacement reserve?
Where did you get the estimate of 15,000 from?
It's in the 2025 RRS. the
Oh, because
replacement reserve.
the material that's on there now is a Home Depot product that was laid down there, and it was laid down by internal staff.
Okay.
So that's probably a materials cost and not a labor, and when it
Okay,
was put
that's fine.
down, it wasn't leveled properly and ground down to make a good finish to put the new product on.
Usually you guys are right on with the estimates in the replacement reserve.
Yeah.
This is one of the few exceptions, so just wanted to know
Well,
why.
that's good. Now
Okay,
I understand your question.
that's fine. Thank you.
Is this going to be leveled by these people?
Yes, they're going to lay a level creek down there on any low spots or grind down any really high spots. Now, obviously, I got to have an understanding that there's not a perfect piece of slab out there. There's going to be some type of tolerance that I'm going to have to allow them on any slab. It can't be exactly 100% perfect, but it can be a whole lot flatter than it is now.
But they use a laser level, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board? We'll get to you, sir, in a moment. Wait, sir, we have we're working on our board questions, and then I said we'll get to you in a very
Okay.
brief moment.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
If,
Just a minute, please.
as I looked at the project, there's a real need if you wanted to have a complete upgrade to it or facelift, is that there's quite a bit of painting needs to be done on the railing and things like that. And what is the plan to have that work done?
That's a good question. My plan there would be to do that under operational costs. It is pretty much a maintenance item, is to have that electrically statically painted, probably around September timeframe. Once the project is complete, is to have those supports and awnings, pieces and the railings painted separately.
If this is approved, what your time frame?
Realistically, a project this year, because there's 4 courts there, and to get it done right, it's probably going to take about 2 weeks entirely to get both those courts stripped and resurfaced and reapplied and dried and operational.
Are you prepared to go ahead with it if this is approved immediately? Is that,
Of course.
okay?
You're going to proceed after you get the drawings for the parking lot, right? Just to make sure that there are no...
Yeah, just to make sure there's no design, that they're doing anything to the parking lot based on the bocce ball, that affects the bocce ball courts. I don't anticipate there is, but it's always better to make sure there's not.
There isn't any possibility with the parking that they have such large pieces of equipment in there such that it could ship bocce ball courts? I presume not, right?
Well, that's what we gotta look at the site plan and see if that's what we're looking at there, what kind of extensive work we're doing to the parking lot as far as fill and drainage and things like that there. I haven't seen that site drainage plan yet.
So we're basically approving this based on that.
Yeah.
Is the site drainage plan part of the package with the architect that you're waiting for?
It is.
Okay. Any other board comments or questions? Okay. Sir, you're eager to come to the microphone. Please state your lot and unit number and your name.
Using up my 2 minutes getting
No,
to the mic.
no, we'll let you ambulate over. Okay. Go.
Okay. I play bocce 3-4 times a week. I love the courts. And believe me when I say, after playing for 78 years, these are the finest courts I've ever played on. They are, without question, excellent courses. And the only reason I've heard for doing it over are cosmetic. The painting, the rubber things on the side are good. They could be replaced by the community. But the carpet, and I asked Bree, when you ask for material to go on the top of the courts, did you ask for synthetic materials or real materials made from nature? Did you ask for wool or other materials? Because the courts are now covered with wool carpets, and there's nothing finer to go against the surface than a natural product like cotton or wool. If you put these artificial things on the courts, we all know what the sun and the temperature will do to artificial material. It will flatten it, it will create bubbles, and when people walk across the center of the court or the sides of the court, those areas will be flattened. I recommend you do not do anything with the court covers. They are absolutely wonderful right now. And the gap, the picture they showed of the gap between the two carpets that had to be repaired, that picture was doctored. Somebody doctored that picture because the gap is no more than 1/4 of an inch. I went there and I looked at it, but somebody put a line of tape across to make it look like 1 inch or 1.5 inches. That is a phony picture. And if you want to come with me after this meeting, we will see it with our own eyes.
Okay.
My time
Thank
is
you.
up.
Yes. Now, for the record, your name is Tony, sir?
Tony Greco?
Thank you. And what is your lot? Do you know your lot?
I don't,
Okay,
my
we
brain
can-
is not set
I
for
think,
that.
okay, I think we can get that for you. Okay,
I live in Unit 6.
thank you.
And if anybody wants my email address, I have a paper here.
Okay, any other resident? Sir, please state your name and your lot.
Bill Rogers, Unit 18, Lot 22. I remembered that. Well, sort of in reaction, I don't think anybody who's been around and looked at those courts very lately has said that they are beautiful. I moved here in 2020 and came from a community that had superb bocce. I bought a house in spite of it because I'm not sure everybody would do that, however, but when I looked at the bocce courts, it was very disappointing. I play bocce actually regularly now. Those gaps on the side are indeed anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches, and when you try to hit a ball off them, it's fine if you don't hit one of those, but when you hit a gap, it goes. Anyway, that sort of makes it tough to play. Anyway, the courts are in bad disrepair. They should have been, attended to. I think that I'll speak on behalf of all the other people who don't play bocce here. We expect you to maintain all of our facilities, to keep things up to date, to keep things clear. I happen to have some friends in Sun City, Vistoso down here. So when somebody buys a house, they look at all kinds of places. They're really proud of the fact they redid their bocce courts here in the last couple of years. They're really nice. Same is true, I have some friends up at the ranch, and they have great bocce courts. I don't think our HOA should be sitting here with inadequate facilities. So when somebody drives down Saddlebrook Boulevard and looks at them and says, I'm rather disappointed. So I think for the sake of all of our community, including non-players, we ought to keep our facilities up, and that's all you're really being asked to vote on. You got funds to, we allocate funds to maintain our community. Let's maintain it.
Thank you, sir. Any other homeowners that wish to speak on this issue? Sir, please state your name and lot.
I'll go as far as I can. My name is Rick Nicholson. I'm in Unit 11.
Okay. Okay, we'll look that up, no problem.
I am a year in. I moved here late last May, and through my neighbors, I've been invited to go play bocce. So my bocce experience over time has been on a beach, which has been a little bit of a challenge, or in somebody's backyard where the grass tufts are all over the place, and it makes it difficult. I enjoy playing bocce here. I enjoy playing on these courts. However, I will tell you as a new resident, having visited the ranch and seeing what their product is, it is so inviting. It is so inviting. I know I've worked with Bree a little bit in terms of looking at some of the products that she's looked at and that kind of stuff. I don't claim to know anything about all that. All I do know is that if we can improve one of our facilities, we should do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's take our vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Unanimous. Thank you, Bree.
Oh, and Bree, use that 3% that's extra to buy some new balls. Okay.
Joining the table now is Patrick Hughes, Common Area Maintenance Manager, for our next presentation.
Steve Patrick, we're going to talk about the Common Area Maintenance utility vehicle. Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. The Common Grounds crew uses these vehicles to do most of their duties out there on the common area. And now, since we've increased the staff considerably, and to be able to provide them transportation to get to and from some of the remote areas that they go to on the HOA, these vehicles are critical to make that happen. The Toro unit offers a long dump bed integrated with a golf course maintenance tracking system. The Toro unit is fairly similar to what they use down at the golf maintenance, and they have a system they track the maintenance on. We thought we'd get one that we could actually hopefully piggyback with them and to track the maintenance on this piece of equipment as well. Delivery time is 3 to 4 months from the time we order it. We went to a John Deere and a Toro. John Deere was a little cheaper, but we've had some of those, And I don't know, through the years, they're not holding up to what we use them for. So we wanted to get something a little more robust.
Okay.
Any questions?
Well, first, let's, is there a motion?
I move to approve the purchase of a common area maintenance utility vehicle at the cost of $19,094, which includes a 3% contingency. Funds to come from replacement reserve fund in accordance with our procurement policy.
Second.
Board discussion.
What's the tracking system? What are you tracking?
The maintenance on the vehicle. Hey, yeah, go ahead.
So the utility vehicle will have a wireless hour meter, which talks to the system that's down in the maintenance facility, and it'll alert the mechanics when the vehicle needs service. So you don't have to go out and record the hours. It does that for you, and it'll automatically, 50 hours in advance, lets them know, hey, cart number 4 needs an oil change, cart number 4 needs this, and they can make sure they have the parts ready to go when that time comes.
Thank you.
If we do get this, they're not going to deliver the quotes to the Preserve Golf Club, though, so they'll deliver it to us, right?
Yes.
Good. The other thing is on the motion, this is a new vehicle we're adding to it, so it probably should be coming from the capital improvement fund, not the reserve fund. Why? What's that?
It's a new item. It's not in the replacement reserve.
Yeah, but if you look at the FC2, which identifies what the capital improvement fund is used for, it's used for expanding facilities, increasing the square footage on your facilities. It makes no difference to us. I mean, cash is cash. Wherever you'd like us to take it from, we can take it from.
Well, it's an extra vehicle,
So we're
right?
using it as, considering it as expanding our fleet
That's right,
as opposed to adding to our fleet.
right.
Expanding versus adding? What?
I don't think it makes any difference. I mean, basically, if you look at the policies, though, FC2, it does specifically say that capital improvement should be limited to increasing the square footage of facilities, if you will. It really does. Wouldn't lie to you.
I think it's a new item. It's not in the replacement reserve. We take money out of the replacement reserve on all these items. We're not funding the replacement reserve correctly. So I'm going to move to amend this to make this funds to come from the capital improvement.
I'll second the amendment.
Any discussion on the amendment?
I would just add that I do agree because I have some concerns overall about, and like Vivian's right, cash is cash, but it's nice to have everything fungible, but you know, the definitions, one thing is capital and one thing is reserve, and they're hard to tell the difference. So maybe we need to tighten that up a bit.
What policy are you citing again? Can you just?
Yes, Finance Committee 2.
Finance Committee 2. Maybe we should determine, I mean, that's really a discussion for the accountants. It's a fine point. Perhaps we should reserve that determination for further discussion, because we certainly want to be within our policies. We don't want to violate our policies if you're saying that. So we could just approve the vehicle and have the funding, approve the funding and have the to Finance Committee or whatever, or the,
You've got your treasurer, who wants to take it out of the capital, we're fine with that.
sure. Okay, if you're fine.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Are you, okay. So, shall I take, I guess I'll take a vote on the amendment?
Yeah.
Okay. Any audience, any homeowners comment on the vote on the amendment? We're amending for the funds to come from the Capital Improvement Fund. Okay, hearing no comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unopposed. Okay, so now with the amended motion, any further board comment on this pertains to the vehicle itself, whether we should purchase the vehicle? Any board comment on whether we should purchase the vehicle? Hearing none, any homeowner comment on whether we should purchase the vehicle or not? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Joanne, I have one thing I just want to say.
What?
Just one thing I want to say.
Sure.
Next June, the next June Finance Committee meeting, one of the topics is to have a review of this policy, the FC2. So this will be brought up, and these opposing concepts will be discussed. So that's open to the public if anybody wants to come.
The next item on the agenda is the ALC revision. Mike, I think that's yours.
I think that's me.
Excuse me,
I
Madam
just-
President, before we get there, I'd like
Yeah.
to ask a general question. This question has to do with warranties. Every time we vote, there's always somebody's got a 5-year warranty or a 2-year warranty or whatever warranties there are. How are we keeping track of these warranties? Are we keeping track of these warranties on items?
I track the warranty information, data on purchase based on our FD maintenance program, our CMMS, our computerized maintenance program. I put the dates in there as far as when we actually acquired it and what the manufacturer's warranty is.
Over the
Because that
past,
way it tells me if something breaks, do I call a service tech or do I call the warranty company to come fix it? Because really, while it's under warranty, it goes back to a different entity instead of having a service technician come take a look at it. Whether it be an air conditioner or a piece of vehicle.
over the past several years, have we asserted any of these warranties?
Oh, you bet.
Okay,
Especially in golf,
Yeah,
golf course maintenance.
yeah.
yeah. And in our contracts, even with the Roadrunner Grill and any renovation project we've done, if it's still under warranty, I hold them accountable.
We've had good results, have we?
Yeah, I think it's essential for us. I mean, that's what, when we've done the leases, we've gotten 4-year full coverage warranties, and that's been vital to us, keeping our maintenance costs down. Because the standard warranty with this utility vehicle or the mowers is 2 years, and then you're on your own. But doubling that with the leases has really protected us from potential large repair costs as the equipment ages.
All right, great. Thank you. Sorry.
No, good point. Okay, we're back to the final item on our agenda, which is an issue with the revising the ALC guidelines regarding timing of when you can put out holiday lighting. Take it away.
Absolutely. And the timing is absolutely perfect now. We're all putting up holiday lights these days. Or not. Anyway. So we're proposing a revision to the guidelines for the following reasons. We want to allow the residents to get their decorations and lights up prior to the winter holiday season. Currently, and you'll see the timing in a minute, it's a very short timeline. And with many of our residents hiring commercial people to put their lights up, they have to schedule them out as well. We wanted them to be able to light up their decorations and lights prior to Thanksgiving because so many of our grandkids and or relatives come visit during the holiday, and they all like to do the holiday light tour. And we want to be consistent with the lighting procedure of the clubhouse and the administration buildings. So we're all going to turn them on the same time, as opposed to some people have them on earlier or later. That's why we're asking the change. Current guidelines say December, the December holiday season is November 25th through January 8th. We're proposing it to be November 1st, with the lighting to take place the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. That's what we're asking. Otherwise, there are no changes to the current guidelines.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve the proposed revision to the ALC guidelines regarding holiday decorations and lighting as presented.
Second.
Board discussion. Any homeowner questions or comments on this particular item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Now, before we adjourn the meeting, we come to the portion of the meeting for homeowner comments and questions regarding any topic pertaining to our HOA. Speakers or questioners must be a Saddlebrook One homeowner, not resident guests or visitors. And we do request that you limit your comments to 2 minutes. With that, if you have questions or comments of a general nature, please come to the microphone. Yes, sir.
I'm still Tony Greco.
I'm
I'm concerned over what I see about the expenditures of money by the board. I've noticed 3 things that have been done in the last year that have been a waste of money, in my opinion. One is, as you come off of Ridgeway and go toward the community center, there was a project on the left side of the road that involved putting in new curbs and 3 concrete structures. I'm a follower of the statement that a penny saved is a penny earned. I thought all the projects that were supposed to add beauty to the community. I see no beauty in those 3 objects. To me, they're ugly, and they're being used as a waste of money. Things could have been planted there, put there, that would add to the beauty of the community, but instead we got those 3, in my opinion, ugly structures. They had no beauty. The second thing is, last year, money was spent to get the contractor to put tar over the cracks on Lambert Lane, Catalina View, and the other side streets off of Catalina View. Now we're going to spend a lot more money putting pavement down on those same false improvements, because they weren't improvements. They were 6 to 8 inches wide of tar wasted to cover 1/4-inch cracks in space. No attention was paid to how they were going to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have wasted tons and tons of tar putting over those cracks. I'm worried about the supervision that's being put on these contractors. And
Mr. Greco.
I got one more.
Wrap it up, yeah.
And it's still even more frivolous than the first 2.
All right. Please
I
wrap.
noticed that there are stop signs and the passenger pathways. The signs have been changed to put multiple little lights around the signs. They are red, and in the sun, in the daytime, and the headlights on the cars, make it impossible to miss those signs, but money was spent doing that silly thing.
I think we get that, and we will, we'll review your comments, sir, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Any other homeowner would like to come to the microphone and express their comments or suggestions? When is the next board coffee? Oh, somebody's coming.
Sorry.
Go right ahead.
Sonny Jepson, Unit 7, Lot 41. I want to commend the people that did the improvement leading into the clubhouse that he was talking about. I think it looks great. The only thing I wondered is if consideration was given, or if we might consider outlining the logo, because it looks nice, but you really don't notice it. And that's something that a lot of us at Saddlebrook are very proud of. And a lot of people know that that's Saddlebrook. The second item I have been forced to walk with some of my neighbors in the morning up Saddlebrook, and then often we come into the community, or to the building area here, walk around, and almost without fail, every day, as we come down Saddlebrook and then cross the crosswalk there are cars that blow through, well, not blow through, they don't slow down at that stop sign. We had one last week that literally, as we were walking in the direction of the clubhouse, they came and made a right-hand turn and literally missed us by, I'd like to say 5 feet, but in all honesty, it was about 10 feet, but it got my attention. And we were just barely halfway across the crosswalk. I think Patrol 1 does a great job here. They're friendly. We need them, but I'm hoping that possibly if they just park, every once in a while I'll see them park at Ridgeview. That stop sign, and then the one that is really not paid attention to is the one as you're entering and people make a right to go into the tennis courts, and golf carts and cars ignore that stop sign. And we had one, my time's up. Thank you for your consideration.
I see Vivian taking notes on that, sir, and she'll be looking into it, I'm sure. We'll get Patrol on that. Any other business before the board? Yes, sir, come to the microphone.
Yes, my name is Dwight Garman. I'm in Area 7, Lot 68, and I'm often one of the walkers with Sonny, and I too have witnessed those kinds of activities, and it's not that we're not, I guess, trying to discourage anybody or disparage the kind of work that's been done by the patrol and others, but I think it's becoming kind of a safety sort of issue. It seems like a lot of people are just used to these rolling stops, coming up, and whether there's someone, and quickly making a turn or blowing through the stop light, in my estimation. So anyway, I think it's worth serious consideration. I'm sure it's probably not the first time this has been brought before all of you, that there are some safety kind of concerns and issues regarding speed, regarding the stops, regarding all those kind of things. So I think if we work together and try to figure out how we can kind of reduce this, get this back to some more of a comfortable kind of walking, driving, and kinds of things in our community. So again, I think all of you have done a great job. You have a very thankless job here. The only thanks you get is for doing a good job. And I would like to just say again, we do thank you for all the work you do. It's very important to us. Thank you.
And thank you, sir. And let me just say, the job really is not thankless. I think everyone on the board would agree that we're getting fabulous feedback in general from various people, and it's a very what's the word? Rewarding, thank you. A rewarding experience to be on the board, and we appreciate it. We appreciate the good comments. We appreciate the bad, the negative, because it makes us better. So again, thank you very, very much. And with that, we're adjourning the meeting.